January 1st of 2024, I went to Greensboro Nissan and purchased a 2023 Nissan Maxima. I traded in a 2020 Altima for this particular car. So there was some contractual work that I would need to do in reference to that as well. The initial process was to go through a promotion, and the promotion was I would receive 3 months of a deferred payment on approved credit. So my credit was, like an 800 score, and I was approved on that program. And I told them at that time, I said, well, if I don't get the program, I'm just flat out telling you I don't want the car because I want to have the promotion. No problem, Miss Draper. We're going to take care of that for you. So signed all the paperwork, and my first due date was going to be March the 31st. And after March the 31st, I'm thinking everything is, set up correct. Well, anyway, it came from my first payment, and they told me that I was behind. And I said, well, how is that? And they said, well, you have a payment that was due early March. And I said, no, my original contract states March 31st, 2024. And Nissan Finance Company said, well, no, Ms. Draper, you have a revised contract. And I said, no, I haven't signed anything other than what I signed on January the 1st. And she says, no, we have your signature here, January the 20th. I said, okay. So what I would need for you to do is to send me a copy of that revised contract. So she sent it to me via email. And when I was able to open up the email, I could see that someone else had forged my name. It was not my signature. I reached out to Nissan Finance and told them what was going on, and they stated that they would do an investigation. Well, the gentleman called me back, and he stated that Greensboro Nissan said that they had me on video. And I said, well, I would like to see the video, especially if it's in reference to me signing paperwork on the 20th. And no one would ever produce the paperwork. So I called an attorney and asked, their advice. He stated that I needed to call the North Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles. So I called them, and they said to come in. I showed them paperwork, which I signed on the 1st of January. They compared it to the signatures that they had. They realized that it was a discrepancy. So they, in fact, did their own investigation. The guy that did that investigation, his name was Inspector James. So he goes to the dealership. He asked them for said video. They said, oh, we don't have a video because after 90 days, it reloops. So we don't have the video. So then he said that someone said that I, in fact, gave them permission to sign my name on the contract. So at that point, I've been trying to talk to Greensboro Nissan. Greensboro Nissan has not called me. They have not emailed me. They basically got an attorney that they wanted to handle it. And so I felt like, well, maybe I may need to get an attorney as well. So I get an attorney, but he's a personal injury attorney. So he doesn't really know the ins and outs, I guess, of the contract law. So he tells me that I suffered no damage. But as I explained to him, I don't see how I suffered no damage when I'm actually being held liable to a contract which I didn't sign. That's a purchase contract, also a Department of Motor Vehicles contract. So there's so many avenues that it just seems as if I just don't know what to do at this moment. I have no clue. Even on the original contract, when I started looking through the paperwork, um, and let me just state, whenever you go into a dealership and you're signing off on your paperwork, you can actually see the finance manager. He's supposed to be signing as well. And so, paperwork that I have, the originals, there is no signature from the finance manager at all. So once all the paperwork was signed by me and my looking at him thinking that he was actually signing, he says, "Well, let me go get your copies." So he goes and he gets the copies, puts them in an envelope, he seals it, and he says, "Well, you can just put that in your glove compartment so that you'll have it for later." Well, of course, I didn't look in my glove compartment until there was a discrepancy about that first payment and the time frame of where they stated that I needed to make my first payment. When I look on the paperwork, there's no signatures of any representative from the dealership. So, in fact, I have paperwork that I signed, but no one from the dealership signed. So then we fast forward to January 20th, whereas this revised contract, which has been, forged with my signature. So from the very beginning, it seems as if, it was something that was, scandalous, to say the least. I did, and that would be Hudson Automotive. I did reach out, trying to, speak to someone in that department. However, it's very difficult to reach out to Hudson Automotive. For whatever reason, you can do a review, like I did a review on Google for Nissan, Greensboro Nissan, and I also did a review for Hudson Automotive. No one has reached out to me, to give me any type of, reason as to why this situation happened. No one has wanted to even step up and to take accountability, to explain to me how this could have happened. However, as I stated, I'm in a position whereas the car that I traded in is gone. I did not have an opportunity to state that, you know, since you're changing the contract, I no longer want to go under this contract. I'll rather, receive my car back. There was nothing, so I I have not talked to anyone from that represents Greensboro Nissan or Hudson Automotive. And my thing is to say to consumers, whenever you do go in to purchase a car, make sure that you look over every piece of paperwork even before you leave out of the finance office. Um, you know, even if you get in your car and you just feel like you want to look over it again before you leave the lot, that would be the best thing to do, because had I looked over that paperwork, even though he had sealed it, I would have noticed that there was no representative of, Nissan that even signed the original paperwork. So I don't even see how that was a binding contract without their signature on the January 1st paperwork. The ideal resolution for me, quite honestly, is that they pay for their car. This is a car, that I did not sign to that revised contract for. Um, I can no longer receive my car that I traded in. So I'm just like out to water without a paddle. I don't have any type of way to go back and just have my initial car, right? So if you place me in a car and you've binded me to a contract, but it's not my signature, I feel like it's your responsibility to pay for your car, because essentially it's your car. The representative from Nissan who signed for the car, although he's representing Nissan, it's your car. It's your responsibility, and you guys need to make it right.